Hi, this is Jingwen. Welcome to my mastery project number 3, and my presentation today will detail the following core area: the diagnostic assessment of our faculty's technique on AI usage, and the Safe AI Tool Survey for my students, and policy number 1 framework, policy 1.0 framework designed to provide clarity, and our strategic focus on prompt engineering to fundamentally reform assessment from product to measurable process. I'm delighted to start by introducing the UWA International School of Guangzhou. Our story reflects a proud legacy dating all the way back to 1932. As you can see, our campus is set in a serene environment near Jiulong Lake area in Huadu District, Guangzhou. This beautiful setting cultivates a close-knit community, about 350 students, supported by an excellent 5-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio and highly effective small class instruction. Fundamentally, UWA has always pioneered integrations of Eastern and Western education philosophies. Our mission is to deliver a robust bilingual model that cultivates students who are proficient in both English and Chinese, deeply rooted in their culture, yet fully equipped to engage with global community. One of the most significant challenge and opportunity we face today is the transformative wave of generative AI. Our school superintendent, Dr. Chan Po-King, has articulated a compelling vision. AI must serve not as a replacement, but as an enabler within our educational ecosystem. We see AI personalized learning as a way to strengthen teacher-student interaction, enhance collaboration, and unlock a more creative learning community in this digital age. Successfully integrating AI, however, requires an honest self-assessment. Before developing our formal AI policy, I outlined our current position in 2 simple categories: what we have and what we need to work on. We already have a strong foundation, including necessary infrastructure, dedicated IT support, specialized funding, and robust homeschool collaboration. Crucially, our students are actively encouraged to leverage AI in their interdisciplinary and project-based research. Despite this solid base, we recognize that we are in an ongoing exploration and acknowledge specific area for growth. To move forward with AI, we must focus on 3 priorities. The first one is governance. Establish a clear AI policy is our priority, because it will be very important for establishment to guide this ethical use in teaching. And second one is pedagogical, and restructuring teaching and assessment method to fully harness AI's potential is equally important. And the third one is operational. Providing continuous faculty training and effective system to monitor the integration is essential for our development. Okay, so to ground our strategy in data, we first conduct an AI readiness assessment with 12 of our educators. Let's turn to this part and look at the profiles of our respondents. First, let's examine the respondent profile, and our data is heavily grounded in frontline experience. Certified teacher make up a clear majority of over 63%. It would ensure our finding reflects authentic classroom needs, and this supplemented by a significant 18% from administrators, giving us a crucial perspective on systematic and leadership requirements. In terms of teaching focus, the data is overwhelmingly weighted towards secondary education, with a combined 75% of respondents teaching grade 6 through grade 12. The remaining 25% are from upper primary and upper elementary. It will serve as an important reminder to keep age appropriateness and regulatory compliance. So what is their actual engagement with AI? The data is actually unequivocal. AI usage has been normalized. A combined 83.3% of our educators use these tools frequently or very frequently. This tells us that the conversation is no longer about if we should use AI or not, but how we can use it more effectively and strategically. But what does this frequent use actually consist of? When we look at the application familiarities, we see a clear adoption patterns. Generally, we use chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Microsoft Copilot are like this usage are nearly universal with 91.7 adoption. However, this distinct drop off when we move to more specialized tools, only half of our respondents are familiar with image generator or teacher-specific platform. And it kind of suggests that while AI adoption is high, but it is not very deep, there's a clear opportunity here and is to improve the awareness and usage of tools built specifically for pedagogy. So moving to our next slide here, our like the AI Staff Readiness Assessment gave us the voice of faculty. The core question we ask is, how prepared do our teachers feel? A strong majority, over 63%, already rate themselves as extremely or moderately prepared. This indicated a solid baseline of confidence for our teacher. It shows that our foundational work is taking root. Of course, the confidence is paired with some very valid concern. And because section 6 shows us here is unequivocal, the number one concern at over 91% is the privacy and security of student data. This is followed by the need for more training or concerns about student over reliance. So this feedback gave me a very clear message. We must prioritize robust governance and to build trust and mitigate risk. Finally, what we do see here for the benefits of using AI, section 7 shows overwhelming agreement. Teachers see AI as a powerful tool for creativity and efficiency, both pulling at 83.3%. So they believe that it can enhance their lesson and crucially reduce prep time, freeing them up for more impactful student interaction. So to sum it up, the data actually tells me that our faculty, our staff here is engaged and confident, yet very clear about what they need from us. They need a strong policy, especially on privacy and more targeted training. So, okay. Section 8 outlines how teachers wanted to learn. What's fascinating is that the number one request at over 91.7% is peer collaboration and co-planning. So this is a clear signal. Our teachers don't want to learn in isolation. They want to learn from each other. So combined with the high demands of hands-on workshop, it shows a desire for practical, community-driven growth. And they are building from a strong practical foundation. Section 9 shows what teachers are currently doing. Teachers are already using AI for the heavy lifting, generating question banks, preparing lesson, and creating exercises. They are using it to outline lecture notes and even support STEAM project. So this is the phase 1 of adoption, using AI to enhance efficiency. But section 10 here is where it gets truly exciting. This is phase 2, showing our teachers clear ambition to move beyond efficiency and into deep pedagogy. So they are asking the right question. How do I use this to foster critical thinking for my students? And how do I thoughtfully adjust my assessment? And crucially, how do I empower my students with AI skills? And this clear ambition provides a perfect framework for the next part of my analysis, which is structure using the renowned ADKAR model for change management. Okay, so we'll begin my analysis with the widely used ADKAR framework for transformation management. We assess 5 cumulative blocks: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Let's start with awareness. Our evidence is clear. With high usage frequency for large language model and faculty repeatedly mentioned curriculum design, awareness is fully established. Our team understood why change is necessary. Therefore, I'll come to the conclusion that states our focus must shift entirely from awareness building to how to transform. So this shift addressed a critical task. The gap between high awareness and concrete guidance created two problems. First, the cost of trial and error. This is like the fragmented, isolated exploration leads to frustration all the time. So second, is the risk of performative implementation. So teachers resorting to superficial application without genuine improvement. And that leads us to the thinking that our next step should be designed to move from awareness to action empowerment. So I've got two strategies listed out here to be our next step. Strategy number one is to provide a clear transformation roadmap, breaking down curriculum restructuring to manageable phases, efficiency enhancement, reconstructing learning objective, redesigning assessment criteria. So this directly support strategy number two, okay, which is very crucial, cultivating the safe failure environment. We launched a micro innovation pilot project, encouraging experimentation in single unit with dedicated support. So in that way, we will establish the case review and to openly discuss the challenge, ensuring the learning from failure is valued as success in here. Okay, so if awareness is high, is the motivation there? This slide which shows us that the desire gave us a resounding yes. The desire is the most powerful asset. It's an empowerment desire. So our teacher wanted to design, innovated, and regain creative control. The evidence shows that 91.7% want to work together. So my conclusion is that teachers see the path forward through collective wisdom. So our single biggest risk is the desire frustration trap. So meeting this high passion with superficial guidance or not clear path would lead directly to burnout. So we must prevent that. Our next step are about responsibly channeling the desire we already have. So the first strategy will create a collaboration that builds a solution. We are upgrading from workshop to practice incubators, guiding teachers from concept to a tangible, usable prototype. Secondly, strategy number two creates a vital safety net. We launch AI teaching pilot zones, safe space where experimentation is supported, not punished. So we will provide the verified tool list and case study for our teachers. So finally, we will formally implement a peer coaching program honoring 91.7 preference for collaboration and ensuring no teacher navigate these challenges alone. Okay, so this brings us to knowledge, where our faculty is feeling the most friction. The evidence is quite clear. 2/3 report insufficient training. The lack of consensus creates a cognitive burden, consuming valuable mental energy on second-guessing policy and compliance. And this uncertainty is going to stop our best people. So the conclusions of this survey for this part is that lack of coherent policy forces everyone into an isolated and maybe a redundant work. So our next step should be fixed this systematically. So the first action strategy number one is to develop AI policy 1.0 for immediate clarity. So this interim safety guardrail will give the teacher confidence to act now, clearly addressing disclosure, grading, and providing a list of safe-to-use tools. Second, strategy number two, we will build a dynamic knowledge base. Our teaching case library, AI teaching case library, And this is a searchable database allowing teacher to find successful lesson plans and reflections, stopping teachers from having to reinvent the wheel daily. So finally, we will embed this policy into practice. We'll create a teaching design canvases to host like policy co-creation workshop, and teachers won't just read the policy, they will use it, they will help build it and moving us from uncertainty to action. Okay, so this brings us to our final and most critical step, ability, translating knowing into doing. The evidence shows that there's a significant spread. A highly competent 36.4% are extremely prepared, but many colleagues of mine, they're just starting out. So the conclusion is that some are proficient while others require more practice and coaching. So the core challenge here is to designing with AI, not just using it. Teachers struggle with how to score and how to design tasks because assessment models are falling. So the risk is, again, practice in isolation, and maybe there's a haphazard progress without gaining feedback from the peers. So our next step strategy provides us what's missing. And again, it's a clearer pathway, supportive network, and robust toolkit. So let's look at strategy number one. We'll break the journey into stage objectives, creating badges like micro-credential, micro-certification, like prompt designer, so the teachers can see the progress and work towards a clear goal. And strategy number two is peer coaching. And we end the practice islands by building a formal network among experienced faculty to turn individual practice into collective wisdom. This provides data-driven feedback and psychological safety everyone needs. So strategy number three is reusable instruction prototype. So this is more like scaffolding, and we provide a library of templates or maybe design prototypes directly answering the how-to questions. So teachers can immediately utilize these tools to ensure high quality and consistent classroom practice from day one. Okay, so the final step, reinforcement. The evidence shows that the teacher's biggest concern are privacy and students' misuse. When they ask for guidelines, they are asking support and protection. So without clear rules, they are forced to be both educators and risk managers. So this decision fatigue. So in that way, we need to fix this. So our next steps move us from individual effort to systematic support. So for example, like strategy number one, we will create a responsible AI usage policy. We will incorporate it into our AI policy there. And this is the safety net. And it's also a commitment to data privacy and academic integrity being written in AI policy. So it will provide a clearer list and disclosure templates in our future toolkits development, and it would remove the guesswork. And second, strategy number two, we will embed in reinforcement into our daily workflow, and we will institutionalize assignment reconstruction workshops, and we'll formally connect this work like coaching peer, earning badges to our teachers. So our performance appraisal and maybe our professional development system. So this makes innovation a value part of the job, but not an extra burden. Finally, strategy number three, we will make success visible and celebrated. We will launch the AI Teaching Innovation Award and internal media column. This creates a demonstration effect. We will share the successful story and the personal journey with everyone. Okay. Here we go. So having used the ADKAR framework, we can now state our core challenge clearly. As a designer for the AI policy 1.0, I think our primary obstacle is actually our knowledge analysis clearly shows that the lack of consensus and continual continuous uncertainty. So this single factor is the greatest breaking point for our transformational effort. So therefore, we must successfully implement the how-to strategy. We must provide the can-do clarity. So to eliminate this kind of uncertainty is the core mission of our AI Policy 1.0. Okay. So because our data reveal a paradox, high awareness and desire, blocked by knowledge gap, specifically uncertainty, and the deep fear about privacy and integrity, a tech-only version of policy would have failed. So I designed this vision on 3 core pillars that directly address the data. Number 1, the vision is human-centric. To meet the teacher's high desire, the vision treats AI as a collaborative partner that empower education. We are elevating the teacher's role to be the designer of inspiring learning experience and the facilitator of critical thinking. So this perfectly aligns with our superintendent, Dr. Chan's vision, and enable the amplification of our human skills. So number 2 is the balance, ethical and realistic. When I'm trying to design this is my guiding rule. To solve the knowledge gap and the reinforcement fears, the vision has to be balanced and ethical. So we acknowledge that generation AI, while empowering and is flawed, and it can contain biases and inaccuracy. So this is why I make critical user and the centerpiece of our strategy. So this concept provides the psychological guardrails our teacher asks for. So it demands accountability, assessing credibility, and spotting potential bias, all built on our core values of honesty, trust, and responsibility. And number 3 is an actionable commitment. It should be an actionable commitment. So our vision has to be a promise of support. The data on ability and reinforcement show our faculty feels isolated somehow. So therefore, when I'm drafting this vision, and it explicitly committed to comprehensive technical guidance, ongoing investment in professional development, and supportive policy. So this vision is our pledge to build a supportive, ethical system that our teachers needs to succeed. And as the designer of this AI Policy 1.0, I'm thrilled to walk you through this section on empowering our teachers, because our policy isn't just about technology, it's about elevating human potential into the classroom. Let's start with 1.1, optimizing teaching strategy and personalized learning pathway. So here we harness AI-driven data analysis and learner profile to help educators fine-tune their approaches, adjusting content difficulty on the fly to create a true, effective, personalized, and differential experience that meets every student where they are. So shifting to 1.2 is augmented feedback and workload reduction. So this is where AI shines as a supportive ally, delivering timely, targeted insight on students' work to lighten teachers' workload without ever overstepping. So crucially, our policy mandates that AI never replace teachers' final judgment. So it's our educators who bring the irreplaceable depth to the subjective elements like empathy, creativity, cultural relevance, ensuring our classroom remain vibrant hubs of genuine connections and growth. So we established our need to work on the pedagogical side. And the key question has been, how do we practically restructure our teaching assessment? And the first principle, 2.1, is our what. We will focus on higher order and human-centric skills, because our learning tasks must be intentionally designed to ensure that AI is a support, not a crutch. So this means assessment that demand ethical judgment, creative application, and critical thinking. The second principle, 2.2, is our how. We will actively foster critical discernment. We know AI can be wrong or biased, so our teachers will guide students to systematically assess AI-generated outputs and critically cross-reference claims with viable sources. So this two-part strategy is our direct plan for closing pedagogical gap we identified earlier. So we have established a clear governance gap earlier. We need a formal policy that provides clarity and consistency. So this is precisely why we formalize this section into our policy, empowering teachers, autonomy in AI use, and strategy for students' guidance. So our entire AI application framework is built on the foundation of trust. Our school recognizes teacher as the primary instructional authority with full discretion over how AI is used for any given assignment. So we empower our faculty with this autonomy. In return, we equip them with a clear and consistent system to guide their students. So this is a 4-level framework you see here: unlimited, conditional, acknowledge, and prohibit. So this system requires our teacher an explicit permission framework for each task, clearly articulating the specific guidelines, limitations, and risk. So this is how we solve for the governance problem, not with a rigid top-down mandate, but with a flexible framework that provides autonomy for teachers and, most importantly, clarity for our students. Okay. So we have just established the 4-level framework that empower our teacher, and let's look at what that means in practice for our students. And let's start with level 4, unlimited. So this is our highest trust. We allow students to flexibly use generative AI tools, and with a very clear goal to cultivate advanced AI literacy and creativity. But this flexibility is built on a foundation of transparency and accountability. Students must submit an AI usage statement. This isn't just a simple citation. They must document their entire process, including the key prompts, the reason for adoptions or rejections of AI ideas, and their menu revision methods. And then we have level number 3, conditional. This is our hybrid model. Students may use AI for specific stages, but the core components and final products must be their own independent work. The goal here is to augment the learning process while safeguarding the core human skills, critical thinking. And this level create a partnership with AI. So students must fully disclose their use and critically evaluate the AI's accuracy. Teachers must design hierarchical assessment and ensure students are contributing fully in some of those non-AI stages. Okay, so having just covered the unlimited and conditional level, we now turn to the level that safeguards establish clear boundary. Level 2, acknowledge. And it's our efficiency level. We permit AI for grammar check and brainstorming. The goal is to enhance learning efficiency and teach proper citation. The students must cite the tool, cite AI tool, but they are not required to provide detailed prompt logs. So then there's level 1, prohibited. This is our high-stakes assessment mode. And the goal here is to assess independent mastery. So no AI assistance of any kind may be used. So the line here is firm. any unauthorized use will be considered as academic misconduct. So finally, our yellow boxes detail the core governance that links the entire framework together. So this makes the policy clear. The burden of clarity is on the teacher. So we must issue the specific AI usage guideline for each assignment. And number two, the burden of proof is on a student. They must confirm with their teachers if they're unsure and must be able to adequately explain their work. So this system is our answer to providing governance and pedagogical restructuring we identify as a critical need. So we just lay out the what, the 4 levels of AI use. Now we must define the how. How do we bring these rules to life in a way that students understand and respect? So a policy fails if it's just a set of rules. It succeeds by building a shared culture. This is why we are embedding this strategy for AI discussion. So it directly into our policy. It directly linked to our policy. So this model shows that a successful AI usage depends on 3 pedagogical commitments. The first one is openness. We are writing the transparency into our policy so that all our expectations are comprehensible and enforceable. So this is how we build trust. And number 2, teachers as role models. So this is our commitment to the ongoing training our faculty needs. So we are formally asking our teacher to model critical thinking, to show students how to verify AI outputs, to model the discussion on privacy, academic integrity, and bias openly. And the third one is co-creating guidelines with students. So this is the key to student buy-in. We are including this in the policy to ensure that we are creating opportunities to examine AI's benefit, cost, and ethical controversy. So by soliciting student input, we make them co-owners of their own learning and integrity. So for policy truly effective, it must be grounded in clear ethical vision. So this is the governance framework, and we identify as a critical need. Governance framework is something that we identify as a critical need earlier. This is why we have embedded this AI ethical principle as our foundation. The first set of principles ensure equity for our community. So this includes our anti-bias principle to assess potential bias, closing the digital divide to ensure equitable access, and supporting diverse needs by prioritizing accessibility for all learners. The second set of principles directly address our pedagogical need to restructure assessment process. This is where we define inclusive assessment, making it clear that AI feedback is supplementary, never the sole basis for judgment. So it culminated in our call for a diverse assessment effort to diversify assessment and create innovative, equitable assessment, and that would transcend the traditional method. Okay, so finally, and the issues that concern our faculty most is here. So data and privacy protection is non-negotiable. Our policy is simple. Our school prioritizes data security, privacy, and transparency. We will rigorously vet AI suppliers to ensure students' data is never used in for public model training and commercial purpose. So this commitment is built on our 4 key pillars. And the first one is legal framework and regulatory. We will strictly comply with PRC regulation, including the legal rules and the minor protection rules. Okay, so including the Personal Information Protection Law of the People's Republic of China and the data security law. And second, it's data minimization. We will only collect what is strictly relevant and related to the topic. So we are strictly prohibiting the upload of sensitive personal identifiable information such as ID numbers or detailed behavioral comments unless educationally essential and explicitly consented to. So the third one is transparency and informed consent. We will not collect data without clear, accessible, and transparent explanation. Prior informed consent from parents is mandatory prerequisite. And number 4, data retention and deletion. We will not keep data forever, and non-essential data is retained for no longer than 12 months, and all the data is securely deleted when its education purpose is completed. So we have discussed the governance and ethics. This brings us to the most practical challenge, evaluation with AI. So this is the very heart of pedagogical gap we identify. How do we restructure assessment process when AI can generate a seemingly perfect final product? Our policy provides a clear answer. We must prioritize the learning process over the final product. This means first, we will cross-validated learning data. We will ask students to record task progress so that we can assess their metacognitive process, not just the result. We will use the triangulation to ensure academic rigor and authenticity. But most importantly, this policy enshrines the role of the teacher. Under teachers' professional judgment and accountability, our policy is clear. Teachers' professional judgment and ethical authority is irreplaceable. They bear ultimate responsibility for all grades. And if an AI assessment exhibits errors or biases, teachers have the duty to intervene and the authority to override it. So this is our human-in-the-loop model, and it's the only way to ensure assessment remain fair and meaningful. So our evaluation policy gives teachers ultimate responsibility and the authority in assessment. We also establish that unauthorized use is academic misconduct. So this combination requires us to have a clear, fair, and supportive process for fact misconduct. And this brings us to number 7, upholding academic integrity and educational intervention. So this is the critical how, and the key to our policy is its dual purpose: to uphold academic integrity while simultaneously guiding students in the responsible use of AI tools. So this is why our first step for suspicious case is not punitive, and the intervention measures are conversational, clarification, and self-reflection, all designed to understand the student's thought process and reinforce responsible AI use. A formal investigation is only triggered when the students cannot provide reasonable explanations and repeatedly using AI without referring to our policy or complying to the policy. So this shifts the intervention to evidence gathering, which mirrors our focus on process. This includes oral questioning and collecting process evidence like version history, our work comparison with real-time writing samples. So we've just detailed our investigation process for academic integrity, which relies on process evidence and oral questions. These are some of the methods that centers on teachers' professional judgment. This naturally raises the questions of AI detection tools. This is why our policy include this crucial section in here. So on the limits of AI detection tool, to be very clear, this policy does not ban detectors, but it strictly defined their limited role. Our policy is clear in here, and the result shall serve solely as supplementary reference material. I mean, the detection tools result should only be served as a supplementary reference material. So they shall not constitute the conclusive evidence of misconduct. The reason for this caution is very simple, because the detection tools are not all reliable, and there's an accuracy limitation, and they are not completely accurate and have high rates of false positive and false negative. So more importantly, they tend to generate false results, and it can lead to unfair accusation. So I want our teacher to pay attention to that. Due to the risk of this, the policy warns teachers to avoid uploading students' work to unapproved platform to prevent privacy and intellectual property infringements. Okay, so following the investigation process, the final section provides the necessary clarity on violation and sanctions for AI misuse. So this is a critical enforcement piece of our framework, ensuring all our rules, ensuring the integrity part. So our model is designed to be educational at the lowest level, and strictly punitive at the highest. Okay, at level 1, treat first-time offense as a learning opportunity if it stems from misunderstanding of AI guidelines or the intervention. So the intervention is educational. The students must redo the assignment and complete a reflection writing. And at level 2, a moderate violation. This offense is no longer seen as a simple mistake in using AI on core component where it's prohibited, and that is considered to be an academic misconduct. So the sanction must be more serious, maybe a 0 mark, a meeting with parents, and potential grade reduction for the entire course. At level 3, egregious violation. So we are dealing with systematic cheating or repeated violation in here. The consequences are final, and the students might fail the course, be maybe a suspension from school. So our ultimate goal is not to punish, but to prevent this from happening. So this policy states that we must proactively prevent level 1 violation by ensuring our students have explicit understanding for the limitation and ethical implication of AI tools from the very beginning. Okay, so going from investigation to here is a policy about professional capacity development. A policy is only as good as the people who implemented it. So we have just walked through our pedagogical ethical framework, and this section is about professional capacity development. It's our plan to ensure our policy, not just a document, but as a sustainable, innovative practice. This is our strategic investment to address the operational need for ongoing training and support our teachers. So this is a multi-level, practice-oriented framework designed to build a culture of competence and collaboration. It starts with a tier training framework, which ensures that every teacher, through mandatory training modules, understand data privacy, policy compliance, and then provides a pathway to advanced workshop on pedagogical integration and leadership development to create our own in-house AI teacher mentors. But training doesn't stick without support. This is why we are building support mechanism. This includes collaborated practice working peer coaching community that provides a continuous structure and non-evaluated feedback. So finally, to create accountability and drive adoption, we have an achievement recognition framework. This provides a clear incentive for our teachers, like the internal micro-credential system, and ensure this hard work is formally recognized and integrated into performance appraisal. So this is the monitoring mechanism that will ensure AI integration is effective for our teachers. So up to this point, our policy discussion has centered on governance, ethics, professional development on our faculty. So from this point forward, I want to turn our full attention to the other critical stakeholder in this ecosystem, our students. So this next will introduce our policy and vision specifically for them. Our message to students is clear. Generative AI is a powerful tool for educational enhancement. It creates a personalized learning path and provides a real-time feedback to help enhance efficiency and effectiveness. So in this new pedagogical model, students gain new capacities, new capabilities. So for example, summarizing and outlining materials, students can swiftly grasp the key point from complex reading and thereby consolidating their comprehension. They also get instant feedback and tutoring. The ability of AI to provide real-time personalized guidance helps them instantly identify and correcting misunderstandings. So while AI is a powerful learning partner, our entire policy is designed to create a critical user, not just users. So this section on the principles of students' authorship and accountability defines what being a critical user means in practice. First, it means the duty of critical evaluation and fact verification. We know that AI produces hallucination. Therefore, our policy states that students must independently verify all factual claims using credible and authoritative resources. So secondly, it means student responsibility. Students are ultimately responsible for ensuring that their submitted assignments are accurate, authentic, and original, regardless of the tool that they're using. And third, it means like personal effort and critical thinking integration. AI is a starting point, but not the final product. The policy requires the students to make an initial attempt before using AI and then critically compare, contrast, and integrate that feedback. So this direct submission of unedited AI output is prohibited because it fails to meet all these three principles. Okay. And we have established a core principles of students' authorship. This details the practical applications of that principles for our students. So based on this, 10.5 sets the clear rule: direct submission of unreviewed AI-generated text is prohibited. So students must openly and appropriately document their use. So how can they use it? This is our AI use scope, which provides a clear permitted use case. So for ideation and drafting, and they can use AI to explore perspective and construct outline, but the core argument and the logical reasoning must be theirs. For editing, they can check grammatical errors, but they are responsible for ensuring the final language style aligns with their personal voice. So finally, as the research and debate partners, they can use it to obtain preliminary explanations, or as a debate partner, but this comes in a clear obligation. They must fact check all the information and properly cite their resources. Our previous guideline had established that the students must openly, responsibly, and appropriately acknowledge the documents and their use of AI. So this next part of our policy provide a specific how for that documentation, academic integrity with AI. Our entire approach of AI usage disclosure and accountability is our primary mechanism for ensuring integrity. Students must specify the precise role of AI at each stage of creation. So this disclosure required 3 actions. Number 1, disclosure and verification. Students must fact check rigorously, and validated AI output confirms that human intelligence maintained control. And second, document the learning process. They must record how many draft iterations they were producing and how AI was used in modifying content. And finally, provide an AI usage statement where they must verify, edit, and rewrite and assume full responsibility for it. So this disclosure process is a proactive solution to prevent the behavior on the left, such as submitting AI-generated content as one's own work, and evasions of detection, all of which are considered a violation of academic integrity. Okay, so we have now reviewed the complete framework of our YWIES AI Policy 1.0. So this policy is not a final fixed document. It is a living framework that reflects our current understanding, or my current understandings of the best practice in rapidly evolving field of artificial intelligence. So to ensure this policy evolve with the technology, we are establishing an AI policy review committee. The committee will conduct an annual reviews to assess the update on this school's procedure. So this process will be a true partnership, will compose of teacher, representative, administrations, IT, and ideally students and parents representative. Our goal is to ensure that this policy will support all the students as they learn to grow in a safe, positive, effective AI environment. Okay, so our evaluation framework and academic integrity policy all points to one core challenge. How do we ensure students are still doing the thinking? Our solution is a pedagogical shift, emphasizing process over product. The final product is no longer a reliable measure of mastery. This process would be the form of what future assessment should focus. So how do we assess the process? First, by requiring process documentation. This means the students' work will be evaluated on their draft, outline, and progress report. They will be asked to document their entire process of using AI, showing how they modify and critically evaluated AI suggestion. And second, by using AI for specific stage, students will be guided by teachers to use AI, and AI will be a partner for brainstorming and generating idea, but not for writing the complete test. So the focus on the process, especially the requirement to document the prompts given to AI, opens a new door. If a student's process is what matters, then their ability to ask good questions and guide AI will become a skill that we must teach and assess. So this leads us logically to our next section, the prompt design. Okay. So why prompt design must come first? I think this brings us to one idea. It's like focusing on prompts is the best way to address our faculty's biggest concern. Because as you can see in problem number 1, there's a pedagogical gap in here. Our most pressing needs is to renew instructional design. So the solutions would be teaching prompt design And systematically integrating AI empowers teachers as a learning experience designer and empowers students as their learning experience designer also. So the second one is training critical thinking. And our teacher expressed concerns on training critical thinking in their survey and training metacognition with AI. So the solution is prompt design, is that kind of training that they needed. So we will teach students to write prompts that instruct AI to adopt rules and generated counter arguments to challenge their assumption. And we also need an assessment reform. Our teachers are worried about how to ensure fair grading. So the solutions will be prompt record. And so if that record provides measurable human-machine collaboration data, and this is how assessment can shift from the outcome to the process. We can finally grade their iteration quality of thinking and original insights. So we are launching this strategy with our AI policy because prompt is a low barrier to entry and it's replicable. So it allows us to build a shared library as an ongoing training, and it could be a support structure our faculty ask for. Okay, so let's move from theory to practice. We now explore what these prompts look like in the classroom. Our example is generated prompts, and a generated prompt is a precise instruction to create new content. We use this to help students systematically brainstorm, and especially when they're stuck in the ideation phases. And the pedagogical value is immense, and this is how we activate the prior knowledge. Look at this, for example. So the student asks for thesis statement, 5 thesis statement, and AI's response isn't the final product, and it's the starting point that pushed the students to immediately begin the higher order work, analysis, or synthesis rather than just describing the plot. And when students select one of the arguments that AI provides, like argument number 2, for example, and students sometimes ask for an outline. They're using AI as a scaffolding for thought. So this entire conversation becomes a traceable evidence we need for our new process over the product assessment model. And when we look back from here, the example in here, we see the students asked the AI to assume the roles of a literature professor familiar with a certain novel, and the student clearly stated what he actually wanted to do. He wanted to generate 5 thesis statements centered upon the theme of the modernity versus the return to simplicity. But for this one, you can it looks like a pedagogical win, but when you analyze this, you can see sometimes generated prompts in the pedagogical gap we are trying to close. And if you look at it closely, you can find several flaws in the original prompt. So let me get one way back. Okay, so look at here, like first, in my outsource ideation, our goal is to restructure teaching method, but this prompt actually substitute rather than support. The students received some finished arguments without engaging in the critical thinking process. So this weakened their ability to discover the problems within the text. And the second flaw here is lack of iteration. So our pedagogical goal actually require the students to engage in a dynamic process of like going back and forth kind of thinking. So this prompt has got a linear process. It doesn't mirror the real non-linear writing. So real writing is a dynamic, iterative process. So this example taught a rigid one, a linear one. So this flaw combines into a core problem. I think number one is insufficient training for critical thinking. So in this example, AI acts more like a servant, but not a coach. A servant doesn't challenge the master to anticipate counter argument. So this leads to a weaker, undefended position and lack genuine personal insight in here. So this is a clear example of poor instructional design. So when I'm designing this, I'm actually thinking, how do we fix this? Okay, so here is our improved model, which is a core part of our new instructional design. Step number one is a fundamental shift in our pedagogy. We move from directives to guide dialogue. The primary goal is to solve outsourcing ideation problem by requiring the students to engage in pre-thinking. So the prompt achieved through setting the stage by asking AI to play the role of an expert, like a scholar specializing in post-colonial literature. Of course, this got to be related to the text itself, right? What kind of role that you want to assign AI to act. So activating students' voice by requiring the students to share their own preliminary observation first. It will force the conversation from observation to argument. So it simulated peer review by asking AI for a brief critical perspective on their initial thought. And that would deepen the engagement of the students. So this immediately followed by a request for arguments that meet explicit quality standard. And the argument must be debatable, specific, and critical. So it trains the students to understand what constitutes a qualified academic argument. And now let's get to step number two, refining structure and evidence. It focuses on the iterative process, moving from receiving the outline to co-constructing an outline. So this step directly addresses the lack of iteration flaw. The students must take a final critical commitment to their argument, and they are asked to challenge it. So what is the possible counter argument? So this embeds the feedback loop that was missing before and ensure the student's thesis or writing is robust before they begin outlining. Okay, so we have already seen how generated prompts are used for initial ideation and baking the cake. And now we move to analytic prompts. If generated prompt is like baking a cake, the analysis is asking the AI to serve as a food critique and nutritionist. And here we offer the cake, data, and text, and ask it to perform deep analysis and review the root cause. So the functions of analytic prompts is to prompt complex cognitive tasks. They're used when the students need to assess coherence, argumentative strengths, and effective use of evidence in the draft. So analytic prompts promotes a deep understanding and critical thinking by requiring AI to extract insights and trends, the validity or quality. So the prompts you can see here is an example of a prompt engineering because it successfully restricts AI to the highest level. So first one, look at the role and the scope here. Defining AI as an expert in literary analysis, focus specifically on the claim, evidence, analysis links. It would maximize the professional quality of the output. And second one, I want to talk about the prompt requests two core high-order cognitive tasks, evaluation and refinement. So if you look at this one in here, let me point it right here. So evaluation part is, does the specific textual evidence I provide sufficiently support my topic sentence. And a refinement is how can I make the link between evidence or the analysis stronger and more specific. So that would provide an actionable iterative feedback. And providing the full paragraph allows the AI to perform advanced textual analysis, would connect the specific detail to the central analysis. Okay, so this is the clear framework for analytic prompts. And to ensure that we consistently generate high quality feedback, we can use the clear framework as our tool to teaching prompt design. This would ensure the prompt is engineered and professional. And the prompt must defined as a professional expert role to enhance the output quality. This is about the context and logical part. And here, the students designate AI as an expert in AI, like expert in literary analysis. It focuses the evaluation on the claim, evidence, analysis of the writing. And the second part is exact and appropriate. To achieve deep analysis, the prompt provides highly contextual and specific input. The full paragraph and the instruction to only evaluate the string of its claim, evidence, analysis links. So this minimizes the ambiguity and allows response and analysis of argumentation. So this prompt then asks for specific high-order task evaluation. Does the specific text evidence I provide sufficiently support my topic sentence? It is written here to teach the student to assess argumentative validity. So the final one is reviewable. So based on the AI initial response, refine it and iterate it. So this refinement teaches students the iteration to shift the students' focus to actively improve their work based on the AI coaching. So the resulting feedback promotes a critical checking and comparison, ensuring the students are fully engaged in a high-level cognitive work. Okay, so an effective iterative prompting workflow runs as a tight professional feedback loop. We start with a clear prompt, assess the reply, refine the prompt, and then repeat until we reach a minimum useful response. So we call this interactive prompt. The setup here defines the expertise and the goal. The student assigned the AI the role of literary analysis professor and clarify the task to develop an analytical paragraph. And crucially, the AI's role is to guide me through this process, not to complete it for me. So this immediately sets a collaborative, not outsourced expectation. And the rules section is the non-negotiable governance layer built directly to the into the prompt. It's specifically designed to solve the problems of outsourcing ideation and enforce cognitive engagement. Rule number one, you must not provide me with the direct answer. And your sole tool is pose questions to me. So this rule is the ultimate defense against the student skipping the critical thought process. By restricting AI's output to only questions, the prompts force the students to become a primary source of all content, including the thesis, the evidence, and the analysis. And rule number two, you must ask me only one question at a time. Okay, this enforces a structured step-by-step engagement. It prevents AI from overwhelming the students with complex advice and ensuring the learning process is manageable and that we can effectively track the students' metacognitive process. Okay. And the four iterative stages are essential because they directly solve the flaw of simplistic linear prompts and enforce a deep cognitive engagement. So this structure process replaced the linear execution of the past with a required nonlinear iterative feedback loop, serving as the measurable scaffolding of thoughts. And in stage number 1, theme brainstorming, and stage number 2, thesis formulation, mandated students perform an initial creative generative work, ensuring they own the core argument before AI refines it. And stage number 3, evidence gathering, is a critical control point. It enforced academic rigor by requiring the students to retrieve specific textual pieces of evidence, confirming their claims are based on verifiable data. And stage number 4, analysis and connection, is the most crucial step for closing pedagogical gap. The AI must pose a question that compels the students to perform complex synthesis, explaining how this evidence substantiated my thesis, thereby preventing submissions of undefended positions. So this entire structured dialogue replaced the opaque final product with a transparent, measurable thought process, providing a traceable evidence essential for our new assessment model. So we're now looking at the crucial initiation of the interactive prompt dialogue, which serves as the key mechanism for restructuring. The students start with a broad frame, and faith, blind devotion, and human needs. The immediate strategy advantage of this iteration is actually twofold. And first, it enforces critical thinking and rigor. The AI, acting as a coach, validate the student's initial idea, but immediately introduce a necessary counterargument. So this directly challenges students' assumption. This directly challenges students' assumption and prevent the submissions of undefended positions. So second, it directly solved the pedagogical gap. And because AI's final question is deliberately designed to push the students from general observation to a focused high-order analytical questions. Okay, because right here, it says, what do you think the novel suggests is the true root of blind worship? So this effectively executes a core goal of transforming our teaching methods and assessment process. Following the initial challenge on the last slide, and the students here engaged the crucial analytical work, successfully completing the stage number 1. The students articulate a powerful insight. I believe the root of this blind worship lies in the fact that people's daily lives are themselves chaotic, mundane, and filled with disappointment. So this demonstrates that they have moved from plot description to high-level thematic analysis. The AI here is acting as a professor and coach, and validate this core idea and recognize this as the opportune moment to enter stage 2, thesis formulation. So crucially, AI does not simply ask for thesis. It introduces a challenging, complex element. The novels focus on the commercialization of faith. So the final question is designed to synthesize this new element with the student's initial analysis. What critique or argument do you think the novel makes about a relationship between faith and society through this ironic juxtaposition? So this systematic evaluation of thought is the essence of pedagogical restructuring we committed to. And interactive prompt. So this shows a successful result. The students present their final complex thesis. I believe the novel's central argument is that faith is a social product born of human need and swiftly commodified by the exploiters. So AI here validate a successful transformation and signal the move to phase number 3, evidence. So this is the most crucial step for enforcing academic rigor. AI strategically breaks the complex thesis to a measurable component, then instruct the students to find the first piece of evidence. The final question is specific and it says, could you locate within the text and the passage describing how the pilgrims receive Sampath spirit and compare it with that of ordinary model? So this dialogue proves that the students is performing the core work of process over the product. The entire conversation logs becomes the traceable evidence used for assessment, validating the student's original insight. Okay, so we have demonstrated how our pedagogical shifts, especially through prompt engineering, enforce critical thinking and provide assessment data. However, the success of this integration hinges entirely on ensuring a safe and responsible digital environment for our students. So therefore, our next stage of our assessment, we utilize established Skills 21 framework to evaluate the safety of student AI tool usage. So let's start with Google Gemini for education. So its structure is built upon 3 critical parts: assessment, feedback, AI literacy, and data privacy for this slide. So in the area of assessment and feedback, the design is highly pragmatic. Gemini does not automatically track long-term student progress, preventing data overload in that way. So, however, its power lies in on-demand assessment. So teacher maintain control by providing a specific rubric, allowing Gemini to perform automated grading or generate a detailed skill assessment report. This means that the evaluation authority remains the teacher, and AI is the amplifier of this capability, but not a substitute. And more importantly, Gemini provides a data-driven teaching insight, automatically generating analytical reports that precisely flag knowledge points when the students are collectively struggling. So this points out where the students are collectively struggling. So it enables the true positions of teaching. And next, we address to the teacher visibility. And Gemini's design prioritizes students' privacy and academic autonomy. So there is no administrative panel for teachers to view the students' conversation log, no real-time chat monitoring, and the teacher cannot assess the student's full conversational history. So this tells us that Google's design philosophy positions Gemini as a tool for unpressured learning and exploration, reinforcing the academic assessment must be based on the student's final output, but not the process of it. So finally, data privacy is actually our bedrock for it. So user data will never be used to train any Google AI model, and nor will Gemini collect data to be shared with the third party. So it has earned a common sense privacy seal and authoritative third-party endorsement for K-12 education technology, and is compliant with major US and European privacy regulation. So moving to the second set of features, we see Gemini integrated deeper into education ecosystem. For example, like AI literacy support and reporting. Gemini goes beyond just providing a tool, but it's about responsible use because they provide hybrid resources, including a self-paced model for modules for staff and students to master prompt engineering, and embedded warning and curriculars on AI ethics. For administrative reporting, school leaders can assess the identified reports on tool usage, like monthly active users, to evaluate adoptions and plan training. So this data is strictly separated from individual conversation, confirming the balanced design between organizational insights and individual privacy. And secondly is the administrative reporting. And the administrator can assess. Okay, so the third one is actually the universal accessibility. Okay, universal accessibility is the key feature. Gemini is committed to meeting WCAG 2.1 AA standard, supporting the full keyboard navigation and all major screen readers for visually impaired user. So critically, it core speaking audio out function creates an end-to-end accessible conversational experience. So it's revolutionary for students with reading, writing, and visual difficulty, ensuring technological equity in here. And LMS integration is deep and native with Google Classroom. Teachers can use it directly for lesson planning. And students receive tutoring and writing feedback directly within their assignment, while third-party support, LMS support via LTI, the most seamless experience is clearly within the native Google education system. So in summary, Google Gemini presents itself as a mature, balanced, ecosystem-centric in AI solution. It can empower teacher while strictly protecting students' privacy. And now let's take a look at Kamigo. So moving on to it, we began by looking at the data privacy, teacher visibility, and there are two closely linked dimensions. So on data privacy, Kamigo performance is kind of mixed. It's highly regulated, having passed SOC 2, Type 2 audits, and secure FERPA and COPA certification. However, the key points of contention is this. So the conversation with Kamigo, after being de-identified, may be used for AI model training. So this stands in sharp contrast to the absolute commitment offered by Gemini, and is a core issue that the school and parents must carefully consider during evaluation. And on teacher visibility, Kamigo adopts a compromise that is accessible but non-intrusive. Teacher can review the complete conversation history and a student-by-student basis, which provides a potential for deep insights into learning process. However, the system does not provide teacher with a dashboard for real-time monitoring and global keyboard searches. So this design strike a balance between protecting students' space for autonomous exploration and giving teachers the ability to for post-facto review based on specific needs. And moving to core teaching functionality, and Kamigo demonstrate a deep educational pedigree. So its assessment and feedback mechanism is the greatest highlight. Kamigo is designed to function as a Socratic tutor. It strictly adheres to the principles of not directly giving answers. Instead, it guides students to find solutions themselves by posing leading questions and provide targeted hints. So this is crucial for developing students' critical thinking, I think, is especially for their problem-solving skills too. So simultaneously, it offers an in-depth writing feedback relevant to content, focusing on arguments, evidence, and structure. So for AI literacy support, Kamigo employs a dual-track model of embedded practices and resource support. The Socratic interaction itself is a continuous practice of how to prompt the AI. So more importantly, it provides a complete teaching resource packages for educators, including the guidelines and videos specifically dedicated to teaching students about AI's limitation, ethics, and bias. So this means that AI literacy education is an organic component for the Kamigo's experiences. Okay, finally, we're examining how Kamigo integrated into existing edtech system. And the LMS integration and reporting. And Kamigo shows partial deep integration. It integrated with the platforms like Canvas, Wire official plugins, and for plugins for preparation tools. However, its core students insight and chat history functionality must be assessed on the Khan Academy platform. So it kind of lacks the deep automation feature like grade passback, or it would create a procedural barrier in that way. So for the general accessibility, Kamigo inherits an excellent tradition of the Khan Academy platform. It committed to WCAG 2.1 AA standard, providing support for keyboard navigation and screen readers. It has got voice input and text-to-speech functionality are live, offering multilingual option also. So in summary, it's a pedagogical expert AI. It combines a powerful pedagogy-centric tutoring capacities for comprehensive AI literacy resource. And I would recommend school choosing it to explicitly guide a student, and also need to pay attention to the data used for model training and understand there's certain trade-off in this system integration depth. So, however, educational institutions that prioritize pedagogy and student thinking development above all else, I think Kamigo would offer a highly compelling choice. Okay, so next we'll be walking through the key features and consideration to DeepSeek platform, focusing on its application and education setting. So DeepSeek from China demonstrate a strong capability in supporting teaching and feedback, offering detailed explanations, error corrections, and constructive suggestions in assessment and feedback. But I must remind the school that DeepSeek is not solely used for education. So it's a platform also include administrative reporting and teacher analytic reporting, but it's not only used for education. Again, it's like Google Gemini. It can be used for anything. So which are tightly, the administrative reporting and teacher analytic reporting are tightly linked to data privacy agreement. And what we need to pay attention in here is DeepSeek is within China. The reason I chose this is because Gemini and Kamigo is not available here. And in their data privacy terms, they state that the data would be used for model training. But using this, when you're using DeepSeek, they're in compliance with the cybersecurity law within China. This is the only available and widely available platform for students in China. So of course, we have got a lot of artificial intelligence tools in here, but this one is the most popular one, along with two others like Doubao or social AI. So for usage, DeepSeek emphasize universal accessibility, supporting multiple language and offering a clean. It also supports speech to audio functionality and customizable input and output options for classroom use. DeepSeek supports LMS class integration, helping bridge the platforms with existing learning management system. The only platform that is supported here is DingDing, and it's only available in China also. So it's not widely integrated with other platforms like Canvas. So a key feature for educator here is teacher visibility. It allows varying levels of oversight into the student's activity. So we now dive deeper into the privacy and accessibility trait of its platform. When you look at the data privacy, as you can see in here, I stated before, policy stated that user input and output data, and chat logs may be collected for the purpose of improving and training AI model. So the platform is designed to comply with data protection laws, including the cybersecurity law, data security law, and personal information protection law in China. So the decision to include DeepSeek in this evaluation was based on a comprehensive assessment of local applicability, language compatibility, and legal compliance. So Chinese students now are actually facing practical obstacles due to the restricted network accesses. We cannot use Gemini, we cannot use ChatGPT, and we cannot use like other artificial intelligence from foreign countries. So as a large AI model developed locally in China, and DeepSeek provides a stable, compliant alternative. In terms of universal accessibility, DeepSeek supports a multiple language and is free to use, most importantly. So however, the accessibility features are still limited in here because we don't have very inclusive feature for DeepSeek. So there's no depth optimization for user with disability or special education needs. All core interactions is basically text-based, and there is no support for speech recognition, no support for speech synthesis. So similarly, it comes to customizable input and output. It does not offer structured customization tools for schools or teacher. The only way to customize the experience is through system prompts. So it offers several useful features for education, particularly the assessment, feedback, or basic accessibility, despite its limitation in customization. But given its local compliance and stability for use within mainland China, it represents a crucial option to ensure reliability for routine use in the classroom here. Okay, so we have established a policy, and now we must communicate it. And I drafted the AI communication for teacher to serve one purpose: to establish a foundational framework of trust and practical support for our teachers. Communication is built on two cores, connected pillars. And first is utility. We wanted our new policy to clearly show how AI is a professional ally designed to save teachers' time and streamlining planning and evaluation so we can serve and enhance the indispensable human elements of teaching. And we specifically encourage experimentation, teachers' experimentation, even guiding students to co-create their own responsible classroom agreement. And the second thing that I consider is the readiness result from our survey. So to proactively mitigate anxiety, I include the AI toolkit. And now it's still very primitive, but this document is used as a reference, and it would immediately answer some critical questions on issues like data privacy, teacher visibility, and how to incorporate AI in the classroom with an appropriate assessment criteria. So I structured the entire release around the pilot period and share workshop because I firmly believe AI readiness is a collective effort, not just a policy mandate. So this communication to teachers isn't merely a document, it's a start of a support practical journey that we are taking together. Okay. And finally, designing the AI communications for parents and guardians require me to focus on two non-negotiable parts: the students' empowerment and parent assurance. The communication here emphasized the core purpose is not about using new tool, but about teaching the practical future-ready skills. Crafting effective prompts is what students are going to learn, and critically evaluating AI content, leveraging AI for genuine innovation is indispensable skill for future. So our goal is to position parent and guardians as the vital partner in this academic shift. Critically, our communication was constructed to preemptively address their biggest fear, which is the privacy. So the design of this communication is affirm strictly data regulation, and I explicitly stating that all activities that will occur in a secure, controlled environment, compliant with local law, within the commitment that no personal information from students will be uploaded. And finally, the supporting material outline our strategy for transfer communication. This isn't just about sending an announcement to our parents. It's about inviting them to participate in this challenge and transformation together. We encourage parents to actively engage in this policy review and attend the workshops. So this structure is intended to transform the parent from a passive recipient into an active co-creator, along with our students, to be a responsible, ethical, and successful AI learner in the future. So this is the second part of our communication, and this is my reference resource. Okay, so that will be all. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching.